Just tell me when we're recording.
We are recording.
Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. Hello. I am Kat, your Director of Service Excellence, coming to you live on a nice, new, shiny video with our CEO and founder and captain of this ship,
Hello.
Dr. Jay Greenstein.
Hello.
How you doing, Dr. Jay?
I am doing great, Kat. How are you doing?
Good. So today we are just going to talk a little bit about how to have difficult conversations with employees. And this is going to be part of our leadership training series. So I'm really excited to find out your tips, your pro tips for our other leaders on how they can really approach these difficult conversations, because I know it's something that everybody could be better at. So
yeah, it's never an easy thing to have a conversation around performance with someone who's not delivering. And I think we work with some really exceptional people. And sometimes you need to sit down and have an open and honest, crucial conversation. So it's great to be here to talk about that today. And hopefully my dogs won't be barking too much that will distract the audience from the video.
You might hear mine as well. So we'll just ignore the dogs.
We're a dog-loving company, so everybody's probably used to it.
Well, listen, in our company, there's always something going on around us, right? So we have to be able to focus and have those difficult conversations, even if there are patients yelling and other dogs barking around us, right? So
exactly.
So I guess first off, I just want to hear from you how you think people should approach a difficult conversation. How do you ask the person to have that conversation with you?
Sure. So I think about the 4 C's, right? C's. So confidence, and I mean in confidence. So doing it in private. I think curiosity, asking the right questions, and I'll get into some detail around this, in a little bit. The third thing is candor, like being honest with people, and then the last C is around commitment. What's going to be done following the conversation? I think we've probably all been in situations as leaders where we've let a certain performance issue or metric go undiscussed for too long of a period of time. And really all that does is it creates more problems and more frustration and even more loss of opportunity for that particular individual where they can't develop as professionals and as people. So the goal really is to address a performance issue right away. So let's start with the first C, which is confidence. Confidence really could have 2 meanings. You've got to be confident in how you feel about a particular performance issue, and you also want to make sure that you have accurate data. So you want to be confident going into that conversation that you know what the problem is and you can speak appropriately about it. But really, the C in confidence is about doing it privately. You and I have had this conversation many times, right? You want to correct in private and you want to praise in public. And I think that's a really important lesson that I've learned over the years. So make sure that when you're having this conversation, you're not talking about a performance issue with a particular individual in front of others on the team. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you've got to be curious. We all have these beliefs, these sometimes even self-limiting beliefs that kind of change our perspective on what's really actually happening. We have these assumptions that are natural because, especially as leaders, if we've had people who have not done right by the organization or done right by the team or done right by the leader, we start to get a little jaded, and Kat, I've had my moments as well. But I think the most important thing in going into that conversation is to be curious. And that's all about asking the right questions. And we'll go through like a couple of examples and I'll kind of demonstrate how I do this. The next issue is candor. Be freaking honest. Go there. Don't skirt around the issue because you're afraid that they're not going to like you or they're going to be mad at you. Or remember, it's them having the performance issue. And you're not there to be critical. You're there to coach. A couple other C's. We could throw that in too. You're there to coach them, and they need to understand that you're there to help them perform better. And at the end of the day, that actually helps them in their professional career. And to the other extreme of that, it helps them not lose their job. And then of course, lastly, after you've asked the right questions to identify the root cause of the problem, after you've been really candid about how the problem is impacting the business and or the team, then it's a matter of commitment. Make sure that you're getting commitment on specific action that needs to get done by that individual by a certain time frame to ensure that the problem doesn't continue.
Great. Okay, well, why don't we run through a couple of scenarios so we can see how this is applied?
Sure.
We're going to do a little role playing. I will play the naughty, the bad employee who has not met their performance goals in some way. And then you will play the leader, obviously. So I'd like actually for you to also include how you ask that person to meet with you. Is it an invite? Is it you walk up to them and say, come meet with me at this time? How does that take place as well?
So because we're a company that has, large geography, we're all over the map, literally. It can be done either way. Or anyway, it can be done by phone, it can be done by email, or it can be done in person. I think the most important thing is to make sure that you're not surprising that individual. It's, hey, I want to meet with you. We're having some concerns around whatever whatever that problem is. And I'd like to sit down and talk to you about it and find out how we can make it better. Really that simple. It doesn't have to be a long drawn out email, a long drawn out conversation. It's like, hey, let's chat. We want to address this particular issue.
Perfect. All right. So in the first scenario, I'm going to play an employee who has some struggles with arriving to work on time. And as we all know, on time, if you're actually there at the opening time, you are late. So
that's exactly right.
On time for their opening huddle, on time to get set up. So whenever you're ready, take it away.
Sure. So Kat, we'll do like kind of part one, part two. So Kat, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks. Hey, listen, I wanted to sit down and talk to you about a particular issue that's arisen related to you showing up to work on time when we do our huddles in the morning. Are you able to meet with me tomorrow at 1 p.m.?
Sure, I can do that.
Awesome. Well, I'll see you here tomorrow in my office at 1 p.m. Thanks so much. I appreciate you making the time.
Sure.
Great. All right. So now fast forward, it's 1 p.m. You walked into my office, you sit down, and we're ready to go. And I essentially start with the same theme. So Kat, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. I'm doing great. We're having an awesome day today. It's super fun to be here. So I wanted to ask you a couple of questions around your performance related to showing up on time in the morning. As you know, we have our morning huddles, which are really important. And I just wanted to know a little bit about, what's happening in your world that's preventing you from getting to work on time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really sorry about that. Like I tell you every time that I come in late, but traffic, I think that I'm leaving with enough time and then I just get stuck in traffic and, there's not really a lot I can do about it.
Yeah. Traffic is a bear around the city. I think we're the worst traffic area in the country. That's at least some of the statistics that I've heard. Speaking of statistics, I just wanted to say that over the last 2 weeks, out of the 10 work days, because it's Friday today, out of the 10 work days, you've shown up late 7 out of those 10 days. So how do you feel that might impact the team and our ability to run a smooth huddle and be prepared for the day?
I didn't realize I was late that often. Yeah, I don't think that that's helping the team at all. And I can see how that doesn't allow for productive huddles in the morning. And I definitely have felt that I didn't know what was going on multiple times.
How do you think it affects really two sets of people? One, how do you think it affects the rest of the team? How do you think they view this?
I'm sure not well.
Okay. And how about the patients? Do you think there's ramifications of us not being able to kind of get together and really get excited and get together for the day before it starts? How do you think that might impact the patients?
Yeah, of course there's ramifications there because I have to ask more questions on what exercises to give to people or, who needs to collect money or whatever the items would be that we would go over in the huddle. So I'm definitely and it also, the ramifications to me as well, I feel more stressed because I don't know what I'm doing sometimes.
Sure. That makes sense. So we're clear that there's a problem. We're clear about the impact of that problem. Now let's get clear on how we're going to solve it. Now, Everybody else has the same traffic issues as you do. Like traffic isn't just, in your neighborhood, it's everywhere. It's around the Beltway, it's in the city. So what steps do you think you're going to take in order to ensure that this doesn't continue? And before you answer that question, I just want to be really clear. when people are showing up late, it does not align with our value of unity. It doesn't make that individual a good team member. And as great as a performer as you are, Kat, and you are a tremendous performer, when you don't align with those values and you don't correct that behavior, we're not able to keep you on the team. And so I don't want that to happen. And I think this is a really easy problem to solve. So I'm looking to you to come up with a solution to make sure that you can make it to work on time and you can, help our team continue to grow and do the impactful work that we're doing.
Yeah, I think I will have to set my alarm for 30 minutes earlier every day, and just make sure that I'm out the door about 30 minutes earlier. And that way, I think that will help me to cushion if there's traffic, and be here early.
And do you foresee any issues with being able to do that? Setting your alarm earlier and getting out the door 30 minutes early. Do you foresee any other potential issues that might get in your way to overcome this problem?
It will take getting used to, but I don't foresee any issues. I just have to walk my dog a little earlier and make my coffee a little earlier, but I can do that. That's well within my ability.
Okay. So we understand the data, we understand kind of the root cause, which is the traffic. We understand the impact if it doesn't get corrected. And we also understand how to solve the problem so we can continue to grow and do our great work together. Is there any other item around this particular issue that you think needs clarification?
What do I do if I leave 30 minutes earlier, I keep everything to what I've said I'm going to do, and then there is some sort of catastrophic accident and I end up being late once? Am I going to be in trouble for that?
Well, that's a great question. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think is fair over the next 30 days for your results? Like, if you're getting up 30 minutes earlier and you're making it to work on time, and we know that things happen that are truly beyond our control, especially when we make the effort to get out earlier. So I just want to know from your perspective, what do you think is acceptable in terms of you showing up late over the next 30 days?
I think a maximum of twice in 30 days, but I would like to keep it to one or less.
Okay. I think twice is a reasonable expectation as we move through this process. So that's a good metric. And I think if it does happen, those catastrophic, really random things occur, just text me and let me know. And maybe what we'll do is we'll get you on the phone during the meeting so that at least you can be part of the communication process for the huddle.
That sounds fair.
So what I want you to do is I want you to send me an email confirming what we've discussed, so I know that you know what the next steps are, what we've discussed and what the next steps are, and then we'll see you on time for the next 30 days.
Okay.
That sounds great. I know you can do it, Kat.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. J.
Thanks so much.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that, and Kat, that I do a tremendous amount of reading and video watching, and I've been fortunate to have a lot of coaches over the years to help me with my leadership skills, and I'm always working to get better. But one interesting scientific study that I read is that when you tell an individual that you essentially have the confidence in them that they can do it, that moves the needle. So at the end of that conversation, again, kind of coming back to the word confidence, when you say, I know you can do it, or I have total confidence in you that you're going to get there, that matters. It means that you have a strong, and don't say it if you don't believe it, but hopefully you believe it and you have strong confidence in that person. And that just helps them feel more secure. And I think even more motivated to want to essentially not let the individual down, but also not let themselves down. Yeah.
And I think we're running out of time, but I definitely wanted to kind of just sum up what you did in that actual conversation.
Sure.
And I want to throw another C in there, and that is caring. I still felt that you cared about me and you were listening to what I had to say. So, in addition to being firm and telling me what the expectation was and having candor, as you said, being honest, and providing a commitment, I didn't feel like you didn't care and you were just bossing me around or micromanaging me. So I think that's a skill, and that actually takes practice. So what do you think that the leaders can do to practice these types of conversations so that, I've read literature as well. One of the things that I read was even in emergency situations, if your team has not practiced exactly the steps that they are going to perform when it comes time for the action to take place, they won't know what to do. They won't feel confident in doing it, and it will kind of be a mess. And even if they've read it a million times, if they don't practice it, it won't matter. Practice makes perfect. So what can they do to practice?
I love that, Kat. That's really great feedback and information for the viewers of this. You know, they could easily take 15 minutes out of a level 10 and have some fun with this and create some scenarios. Like the team could create some scenarios for the boss, kind of putting them on the spot, you know, and make them go through a couple of scenarios and then get some feedback from the team about what that felt like. Did it feel like they were caring? Did it feel like there was candor? Or did it feel like maybe they were kind of skirting the issue a little bit? So I think, you know, I think that's a great suggestion. And I would love to see the teams make some time and actually skill build around this, because they are important conversations. At the end of the day, it's really for the individual. It's not just for the business result or for the team. It's really for that individual to help them get to a place where they get it, want it, have the capacity to do it, and can be successful in the business.
Right. And keeping with the C theme, you're also cool, calm, and collected. And that comes with gaining that confidence and being comfortable in what you're doing. So I can go C's all day.
I love it. I
got them all. All right, Dr. J, I thank you so much. I know we wanted to do another scenario. Maybe we'll do a separate video on a couple other possible scenarios that people could go through. But this is great. I think this is going to be a wonderful training video for people in the leadership segment.
Awesome. Thanks, Kat. Appreciate it. Great idea that you had to do this. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.